Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm showing you how to do individuals. I'm doing it on a male, but you can do this on a female as well. These are perfect for if you're trying to do the viral miracle knots. And a lot of people always ask me about parting. So when it comes to the parting, you're going to have 6 rows. This will be medium size, medium large size. And you want to part from where his hairline begins at the top portion. I'm going to show you with the arrow. From that part, you will go straight across like you see like so that I already have in place. And that is pretty much how you get the 2 rows in the back. Now, this can change depending on your client's hairline. And right now I'm going around his perimeter just with a little bit of braiding gel. And you see now I'm separating that part in half. And this is how I get the 2 rows. Again, this can change depending on how your client's head or hairline is shaped. Because sometimes it could be very short in the back and you kind of have to go up just a little bit past that arrow part that I showed you. I'm using a couple tools, not too many. I'm using this rat tail comb with the precision part. And then I have used the Pure Neat Braid braiding gel. Everything that I'm using will be linked below, so you can go ahead and click that and order it. I like to order my things because it comes straight to my home. I don't have no hassles of running to the store or anything like that. I'm using a couple clips to separate the hair. And what else am I using? I'm using my bracelet that you see that is holding my Pure Neat Braid gel. I do not like to put it on my hand anymore. It feels more comfortable on this wristband. Also see me using the umbrush to detangle his hair as I braid it. And I do want to say that his ends do need to be trimmed. We're going to do that most likely after this hairstyle. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here and show you guys like specifically parting, because a lot of people always ask me, how do you part? How do you part? How do you part? So in this row, it will be 3 braids because he doesn't have like a very wide hairline in the back. It's a little narrow. So again, we're going for a medium large. And yeah, his hair has grown so much. If you guys would have seen the beginning, which I do have the beginning of me doing this style exactly when his hair was a lot shorter. His hair is blown out. Use the blow drying brush. It is my favorite way to blow dry hair, and it doesn't cause a lot of pain or tension. And it gets the job done. And then I just start off with 3 pillars and I start to braid. As you are braiding, you want to kind of make sure your hands is pulling downward. Hopefully I can get a close-up for you guys so you can really see how I did this braid. But you want to braid it all the way down, okay? And if you are valuing any of the things that I am saying in this video and really loving how I am telling you how to do this hairstyle, please hit that subscribe and follow and like and share and repost and do all the things, because I want as many people to see this to learn how to do this style as well. So I would appreciate it so much because it really helps my channel and my page grow. Well, anyway, I'm doing the last braid, this row. And I do want to say that this hairstyle can last about 4 weeks, depending on how you are maintaining it and taking care of it. I do have a couple of videos showing how to tie your hair down, but for reference, I'll throw it in right here for you guys. There are 2 ways to tie your hair down to make sure your hair lasts a very long time for that 4 weeks, 5 weeks that y'all really want it to last for. Tying it down with a do-rag, a velvet one. It's the Bow Wow edition. So yeah, you definitely want to get it. And I also want to get back into these braids. Once I get towards the end, I like to twist. And that's pretty much to make sure like the little parts that need, you know, I told you guys, he needs his ends clipped. So yeah. Anyway, and then the other one, he's using like a Velcro kind. But either way, they both work. So go get you this if you want your braids to last. Anyway, now parting the second row, and you gotta make sure these parts are crispy, okay? Like, I am a part freak. This is one of the reasons why, you know, my braids sometimes take a little while. I do want to say that this hairstyle probably took me about an hour and a half. No. I'm lying. I went live, y'all, and it took a while. Because if anybody knows, when you're live and you're trying to, like, get content to show you guys how to do certain styles, it take a long time. I'm just saying. Well, anyway, with this second row, I am parting it down the middle. This row will have 4 braids. And the way to make sure is kind of like thinking about the middle part. Think about your client's middle part. So each row will be off center, middle part, off center, middle part. So this is the middle part one. So with that being said, I am pretty much parting and I'm lining it up right up with the braid. So as you can see, like the part is lining up with the braid. Let me show you guys with an arrow. And you see how this arrow is lining up with the braid? Do you see? This is how you create that brick layer, where this braid that I'm working on right now will cover up that part underneath it. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if this made a lot of sense. So I'll know if you guys are really getting what I'm saying, getting what I'm throwing down. Well, anyway, and I'm just braiding it down. But once this braid is done, you're going to see how this braid just lays right over that part. And that is how you do like the brick layer. And I'm just braiding it all the way down like so, like you're seeing me do. And his hair is so long. And you could do this on any length of hair. Okay, back in the day, his hair was really short and I did this entire hairstyle. You can also change up the parts and maybe do like triangle parts. You see it's also fire as well. So yeah, you can do different parts with different lengths. So yeah. And I also want to say that you want to make sure that you drink lots of water when you are having any type of braid style. People think that because your hair is braided that your hair will just grow and grow and grow and grow. No, you have to make sure you are taking proper care, getting your trims regularly, drinking lots of water, moisturizing your hair when in this protective hairstyle. You can't just be walking around here with crunchy hair, okay? Especially if it's in the winter time. You know, our hair just dries out, okay? It dries out a whole lot in the winter. So you want to make sure you're taking the proper care. Now I'm working on that third row. Remember, we are focusing on parting. And this precision red tail comb is the bomb because it has like this part at the very tip that cleans up the part. So I have also did a parting video where to show you how to properly use a rat tail comb. I'm about to tell you. The rat tail part is where you just part off the section, and then the top part of the comb, the precision part, is where you clean up the parts. Okay? Get into this row. So this row, the part will not be down the middle. It will not be like a middle part initially. You see how I'm parting over that braid in the middle? I always start from the middle of the head and then I work my way out because this sets the tone. You can also pre-part to really make sure you are going around the entire head with the same size as far as parting, okay? But you see, I am going over that middle part that I created in the row before this one. And you can see it right under my hand, just sitting there. And I'm just cleaning it up and really trying to make sure I get like the right side. And I'm pointing, showing you guys like what I'm lining my part up to make sure it is accurate. And this row will have 5 braids. Okay? And I'm talking about if you're thinking of it from ear to ear. Okay, now if you parting around the whole head, it will be more than that. But in this case, this row that you see that is out will be 5 braids, okay? Now, if you go around, you'll most likely add 2 or maybe 1, depending on if your client has a taper. If your client doesn't and it is a woman, you'll probably have 2. 2 braids at the side where the ears are, okay? That's if you take this part all the way around. And you just braid all the way down. And you see this braid is going to cover that middle part from the row underneath. And no, I am not hurting him. This is sped up, so it looks a lot rougher than what it actually is. Everything is in slow motion. Just really think about it. Because I'm taking my time. And that's one thing about it. When you are doing hairstyles, you need to take your time. You want to challenge yourself if you are a new braider on time. Start thinking about what may be distracting you. Are you taking lots and lots of breaks? Things like that. I'm not in a rush by no means. I mean, I kind of am because I got to work and I had to pick up my daughter. But anyway, that's beside the point. And I use the unbrush to detangle. I do not like using the rat tail. Sometimes you might see myself, but I know his hair is blown out and it's not really kinky. So the rat tail isn't causing much breakage. But either way, you always want to start from the tip and work your way up. But I am a seasoned braider. I've been braiding for a very, very long time. More than a decade and a half. I don't even want to get into it because then it'll tell my age. But anyway, you want to braid it all the way down and you see this braid falls right over that part and so on and so on. So yeah, right there, you see how he put his hands over the braids? He's trying to see how much I got done. You know, do y'all do that to y'all braider? Just know that that could be a pet peeve for a braider, especially if you are a part freak like me. It's like you messing up the part. But anyway, let's get back into these braids. And you're just going to braid it all the way down. I hope this video is really serving a great purpose for you and just trying to achieve this hairstyle or even understanding how the hairstyle is done. Again, this is also the way that you can do your individuals if you are trying to get the viral Miracle Knots hairstyle. It is pretty much the same. That is a DIY hairstyle, and you just add the boho pieces yourself. But this is how your braids should look. I also want to say that the size of his braids, the reason why I made him like a medium small part is because I am going by the density and the volume of his actual hair. If I made these braids any smaller, you see how small his braids are? And this is because my son likes to rip his hair a little bit as he takes his hair down. So you also want to make sure you take your hair down correctly. He likes to jump and move forward and not take the proper necessary steps to take his hair down. But besides the point, for the most part, his hair is very healthy. But again, he doesn't have a very thick grade of hair. So that is what I would go by if you are trying to do individuals. You want to go by your client's density of their hair. If their hair is more on the finer tip, I would not suggest doing little braids. The smaller the braids, the more the breakage. And I know you're thinking why? Because you're not thinking about the take down. Taking down hair, you shed hair at least 100 strands a day. Okay? I'm just saying. But when you are taking down small braids, it can be very tedious and very hard to do. And a lot of times, a lot of people rip their hair as they are taking it down. So I would say do a healthy size for your client. Now, if your client has thick hair, do them small braids. But if their hair is more on a finer or maybe density is not as full and thick, I would suggest doing this size. It is perfect for takedown and it is just perfect to manage in general. And you won't have little twiggy braids. Let me know in the comments below what you are thinking so far. Again, because I really want to make sure that I'm putting out tutorials that is really helping you and not harming you. So yeah. Now we move on to the fourth row. And we are basically going to be doing a middle part. I was just showing you how I use the comb to kind of see like how wide the part is, like as far as the sizing. And that is pretty much how you want to part. And I may even go up just a little bit because I only want to do 4 rows. But yeah, and I'm just going over it with braiding gel and I'm constantly reparting and make sure that I am shape shifting. I'm just kidding. So I'm cleaning up the parts and this row will have a middle part. Do you get the pattern? So this will definitely have a middle part going down the middle and I'm going to be showing you guys that very soon. But right now I'm just making sure I'm getting the width nice and thick. And you can keep parting through to see like, is it matching? Because you want to make sure it's matching all the way around. And especially if you are a new braider or just, new to the person's head. Because everyone's head is not the same. Some people might have like a little knot or a hump or something like that. And you just gotta make it work. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm parting down this middle. And you kind of matching the row, not underneath it, but the row underneath that. And you're just gonna line that part up with that. And that's pretty much how we continue our bricklayer going forward. And then you lining it up and doing what you seen prior to me doing this section. You're doing the exact same thing. And you do want to go a little bit rounded when it comes to like the part itself because a head of a person is rounded. It's not a straight line. We have a round head, okay? So you want to make sure that initial part, the first part for this row is rounded. I hope that makes sense. And then you're going to braid like you see like so. I want to speak about showering and bathing. You can use that do-rag method that you've seen with the do-rag. And you can also put your shower cap on and get in the shower. Or you can do like pin your hair back or just put a shower cap on when you're showering or bathing to ensure, your hair is not getting wet. But guess what? You can get your hair wet. You can get your hair wet. If you are going swimming or whatnot, you just want to make sure that your hair is dry by the time you lay your head on that pillow. Because we don't want no mold in our hair, right? So yeah, now we're in the front, and I lied, guys. I said it was gonna be 6 rows. It's really 5, okay? Because it's gonna be 3 in the front. I am lining it up slightly with the back, but you really don't have to. But I parted it from ear to ear. So this is one of those ways if you part it from ear to ear, because he has a tapered look, it will only be one braid right here. Well, just one. Um, And yeah, and you kind of have to go again by your client's perimeter of their hair, especially when it comes to rowing and the density and volume of their hair when you're trying to do the size that you want. I hope that makes sense. What you can do is beforehand, you can part out the whole head as far as rows on your client to really ensure. And then after that, the parting is easy. So that's another way. If you want to see a video like that, just let me know in the comments below and I'll get that out there for you on how to just pre-part for any type of box braids. This works as well, and there will be 3 rows at the top. And yeah, you're just going to part, and we're still doing that brick layer, okay? Still doing that brick layer. And I also want to say when it comes to pre-parting rows, it's actually one of the best ways to do it, especially if you are a beginner braider, especially if your client has more of a moving scalp. You guys can see again, there's 1 row on that part right there, and then it was 2, and then at the top it will be 3 rows. And I did do the other side already because it's the same thing, rinse and repeat. So you will do the same thing to the exact same side. And I hope this entire video really helped you guys. Please continue to watch, and again, if you are liking this content, just make sure you hit that thumbs up, that follow, subscribe, notification bell, share, repost, etc., so you guys can see my content. So you get to the top, since I did the other side already and you see it's 3 braids, you're just gonna match that. You're just gonna match it. Same energy, same thing. Remember, rinse and repeat. And that is pretty much how you do this entire hairstyle. You just rinse and repeating when it comes to the sides, because you want it to be identical. Okay, so that is pretty much what I'm doing. And again, I would suggest too, if you are doing it on a male and they have a tapered look, I would say do the braids first and then they go and get that taper, because sometimes these barbers be just cutting in way too far. Okay, way too far. So yeah, if you want the tapered look, that's how you should do it. If you are just a girly that are copying these individuals because you're about to do some miracle knots or you want to just wear your natural hair, this is the way to do it. So I hope this video really and truly helped you. And I'm just, again, rinse and repeating. I want you guys to comment below like any thoughts or questions. I do respond to all of them. So if you have any comments about what to do, what not to do, some things that have helped you, etc., just let me know in the comments below. And if you think this hairstyle is fire, just put the fire emoji in the comments below and I would really appreciate it. And I do want to show you guys like the finishing touches that I do to this hairstyle once I've completed all of the braids. And you see I keep pushing his head the opposite way of what I'm braiding because he keeps dipping his neck off, and that can mess up your braids. So yeah, and again, I'm not being rough with him at all. Everything's just sped up. Now I'm going over it with some mousse. My favorite mousse is this Cream of Nature mousse. I like this Cream of Nature argan oil mousse because it curls up the ends of his hair. And then I like to also go over it with the moisturizer from Curls or my other favorite brand, which is As I Am. And I like to go over his ends because it just curls it up a little bit and it's not giving that straight blow dry look. It gives it more of like a natural look. And then I go over his scalp with this Camille Rose oil. I love this oil. It smells so good. Everything that I use smells so good. And he's not going to have to worry about moisturizing his hair for at least a week and a half, because this is all the finishing touches. Then I go over it with some Iso Plus oil sheen. I really just make sure I have it all oiled and nicely moisturized. And that's pretty much how I do the entire hairstyle when it comes to any natural hairstyle or any type of braids. But you see his ends have curled up, and here's the finished look. It turned out super nice. We brushed down his tapered look, and I hope you enjoy. Here's some other tutorials. I'll see you in the next one. Peace and hair grease. Bye.